join me in welcoming your keynote, Jeff Tippett.
Thank you, Jason. Well, good morning, Detroit. You guys are wild. I kind of like this place. I fit with you guys. I came down at 7:45 this morning expecting a dead lobby out there. But you guys were here early. You were drinking coffee. You were happy. You were excited. You were buzzing. It's like, these are my people. We get up early and we get things done. I love it. I kind of wondered if there was a secret behind all that. And I overheard someone over here say that there was spiked coffee. I'm not sure of the source, but I do have a 20. If anyone can point me in the right direction, I will head. Here we go, right here. The 20 is yours. I head that direction. Stephanie, I'm a little bit jealous of your dancing. Wasn't that amazing to see her dance moves? I have none. I promise you, you do not want that burned on your brain. But I do have a degree in classical piano, so maybe next year we can do a piano duet. Wouldn't that be amazing? We'd have so much fun. When my office told me about coming to here to speak to you guys, I immediately checked out your website. It was so impressive to see the fact that you guys have hosted every single president since Nixon here, the international guests that you've had here, and all the major announcements that you have had here from your stage. But more than that, I was looking for a connection. Like when a group hires me to come in to speak and I agree to speak, I need there to be a connection with my audience. There's got to be that connection there, because this whole relationship between the meeting planner and a speaker is just like dating on Tinder. Did you know that? It really is. I mean, think about it, people. We both have to swipe right for this thing to go through, right? It both has to happen. You can be assured that we are both going to cyber stalk each other before we go out on that first date. You can count on that as well. And then, at the same time, there are those people, not you guys, there are other people on Tinder that are looking for that sugar daddy. You know what I'm talking about? And in this meeting planner speaker relationship, there is one person looking for that check in life. So yeah, this is exactly like it. But what I really wanted and what really got me excited was the fact that I had the opportunity to be with and to hang out with the top 350 young leaders in Detroit. Would you give yourself a hand today for showing up? You are here. We're going to talk about unleashing your inner superhero. My bold promises when we finish up, when I wrap up, you're going to leave with your inner superhero. But I wanted to make sure that you know this. You may not know this. We have living, breathing superheroes right here in your midst today. They're here. Now, they don't often wear their capes and their superhero outfits, but they're doing superhero things for you every single day. I was able, just the other day, to snag a photo of them in their outfits. Here they are. What do you think? Amazing leadership. And I can tell you this, I speak 2 to 3 times a month. I travel the country. I speak in other countries as well. And I can promise you this, and I've never said this from the stage before, I have never met an event planner, a meeting planner that was so detailed oriented, that made me feel so comfortable that everything was handled, that everything was buttoned up, and everything was taken care of like Christina has done. Would you give her a rowdy applause? All right, so my promise to you is we're going to leave here with your inner superhero unleashed, if you're ready for that. So let me set you up for success. Not just for my talk today, but also for every single event that you're going to go to and be part of today. Let me set you up with some success thoughts here. First of all, for my talk and the lenses, like how do I view this content? Because I'm going to share a lot of content with you today. How do you view this? You might be thinking about, hey, do I view this with my current job? Or I'm thinking about a new job? Or do I view this because I'm looking for a promotion? Or do I view this because I want to volunteer more? Or, hey, I'm in marketing, I'm in advertising, I do website work, I do social media work, I do email marketing. Hey, hey, I just started a new side hustle and I'm trying to get that up and running. Hey, I'm in sales, or hey, I'm really trying to bolster up my leadership, or hey, I'm really concerned about growth in my life. I want to relate better to my boss or to the people that work for me. Or hey, Jeff, I've got a spouse and I sure would like to persuade my spouse to do the things that I want my spouse to do. If you're wondering, is this for you? The answer is yes. All the above, all of you. Think through this multifaceted lenses. We're not just a single track person, right? We've got all these aspects in our life. So I want you to think through all of those lenses. There is one group, unfortunately, that nothing I'm saying today will work with. You may have siblings, or you may have these in your life. They're called teenagers. And there's nothing that I'm going to say today that will help you if you're around teenagers. I'm sorry. I wish I could. My topic is very narrow in that I'm talking about persuasive communication and how to unleash that inner superhero inside of you. But there's also a broad application. Think of that through multiple lenses there as we talk today. And then also, let me give you this as well as we get started and moving into this. Look at this flower. You see, we all come to conferences like this for multiple reasons. Some of you might be sitting here today and you're thinking, Jeff, I just wanted a day off work so I can sit and play on Instagram all day, and that's why I'm here. Cool, great, hang out, like all the photos you want, that's great. Others of you here, like you're type A aggressive, like you just want to, like, I'm here, I need 24,561 new ideas to catapult my business and to move forward, and you're type A, you want to get things done. Let me offer this to you. Just like this flower blooming here, if you want to find success in today's conference, it isn't about finding a whole bunch of new ideas. It's about finding 1 to 2 things in your life that you can take hold and that you can implement in your life. And then over the trajectory of time, what will end up happening is you will see amazing change in your life as you begin to implement them. And here's why. This isn't about behavior. We're not here just to talk about how do I change the way I act. The things that we're talking about, everything I share with you today is going to require a mindset shift. The way you're thinking right now isn't going to get you where you need to go. So understand that up front. It's going to take work. You're going to have to change your thinking if you want to head into a new direction. We're talking today about how persuasive communication can be that force to unleash your inner superhero. As a kid, that was my goal. That was my dream right there. I wanted to be that superhero, and I would think about Spider-Man. Like, wouldn't that be incredible, especially in a city like Detroit with your high-rises, like to fling a web and just go from meeting, like building to building to building. There was a price, though. Had to get bit by a spider. I mean, that's kind of lame, isn't it? I mean, who wants to get bit by a spider? I live in North Carolina. In case you can't tell from the accent, I'm not from Boston. I live in North Carolina. From June to October, we get bit by mosquitoes every single day, and I have never turned into a superhero. So since I wasn't willing to pay the price, Spider-Man was out. Then I thought about Batman. And wouldn't that be cool, like to have the plane and the boat and the motorcycle and all that cool stuff? But I didn't have all these tools, so Batman was out. And then I thought about Superman and the ability to fly. Can you imagine how wonderful it would be to skip TSA and just go straight to the destination of where you want to go? Forget the whole line. Here's the thing, though. I'm afraid of heights. I think I'm probably more afraid of crashing and falling is actually what I'm afraid of there. So, Spider-Man was out. And so since I wasn't willing to pay the price, and since I didn't have the tools that I needed, I let fear take over. And although I wanted to be that superhero, I wasn't willing to do what it took to become that superhero. So for me, the superhero life was out. That meant I never got into a phone booth and came out and did anything cool. I did try flying one time. It was amazing. Pretend like I was Superman. I got up on the 3rd step, about like this, and I ripped open my shirt, just knowing I could fly and take off, only to hear my daughter say, "Dad, stop! Dad, there's nothing under your shirt. Dad, put it back on. Dad, this is my 3rd grade dance. Dad, please don't do this." Please don't do this, you're embarrassing me. I'm not exactly sure when my kid self gave up on that dream of doing something great with my life. I mean, I did want to leap tall buildings. Maybe it's that whole adulting thing that we have to do when bills get higher and obstacles in life become greater and greater. But at some point, I just lost my dream. And I stopped hearing that little boy who wanted to do great things in life and make a difference for myself and for others, because just doing good became good enough. So I found myself living a mundane life. I was a father of 2 kids. My life was changing diapers. Some of them, I swear, could not have come out of a human being, the things that were in those diapers. I was feeding babies only to have them spit right back up on me, and I'm anal retentive about my clothes. That really didn't work for me. And I walked around like a zombie because of sleep deprivation. I just never got enough sleep. Soon after my second child, my son, was born, my father decided to take a trip to Haiti. And he was going there to do humanitarian relief. And after he came back, he asked me to go to dinner with him. And so I decided I would go and listen to him and understand his story and what all happened for him while he was there in Haiti. And I know that we're primarily millennials here in this place today, so I want to show you something you've never seen before. I found this in the Smithsonian. So back in the day, they had these. These are called, ready? These are called photo albums. Right? You're not going to believe this part. What people used to do, they used to print photos just like this. And if you ever were with a grandmother and she said, "Have I told you about my grandkid?" and then pulled out one of these from her purse, you knew the next hour of your life was gone. It was over with. But he took this out and he started talking to me about Haiti and about the people that he met there. He talked to me about their zeal for life and their zest for life and how much they valued family and how even though they didn't have anything in life, that they were just happy people. And then he began telling me about his translator. And he flipped to a page. It's actually this page right here. And this page changed my life forever. You see, over this month time that he was there in Haiti, he built this great relationship with his translator. And at the very end of their time there, the translator told him the biggest struggle in her life of what she was going through. And it was this. As a 9th grade student, she became pregnant. And she was in an American English-speaking school. And the school gave her a choice. They said, "Give up your baby or drop out of school." I don't know how a person makes a decision like that. But over a period of time and working with her parents and talking through this, she decided that the best thing for her baby was to find a loving home that could take care of her baby and at the same time continuing on her education. And it was that moment in my life when I knew that I was to be the one to adopt this baby. Now, you can call it God if you want. You can call it the universe. You can call it an inner voice. You can call it God. You can call it anything you want. But have you ever had that moment in your life when you knew you were called to do something great and nothing would stop you? That's the moment that I experienced there. So I started working on this, came back home to begin working on it. I woke up the next morning, and that's when I had my oh crap moment. You ever have those in life? Like you commit to something great and big and bold, and the next thing I started looking at this like, I don't know how to do this. Like, how do you bring a baby from another country here? I started looking at the prices to do an international adoption. It was crazy. I didn't know the path to get there. The whole thing seemed overwhelming to me. But this is what I learned. It was that in life, every single big moment is going to be followed by an equally great moment of nausea. If you don't walk out of here today with some nausea in your belly, committed to the growth and the change that you're going to do to make Detroit an even better place, you haven't dreamed big enough yet. You will face that moment of nausea. So I had that, my moment there of nausea. But pushing through the uncertainty there, I learned that if I went to Haiti and saw her face to face, I could lessen the time of this adoption, make things happen a lot faster, ease the requirements there. So I was so excited. I land there in Port-au-Prince. I take a little puddle jump over to her village. I come to this place. It literally looks like storage buildings is what it looks like, a little dirt floors in there as well. And I walk in the door and I look across this one room, and there she was, this little baby. Those chubby cheeks, her cute nose, her captivating eyes. My heart is racing just looking at the picture of this little girl. And that's when I'm like, oh my God, this thing just got real. This is for real. And then they said, hey, do you want to hold her? I'm like, oh, absolutely. So here I am holding this precious baby whose name is Janin, which means God is gracious. So I head back. Everything's up and down, just like life, ups and downs, until finally, one day, I get an email from my Haitian attorney, and he said, Jeff, because of the unrest with President Aristide being run out of the country, Jeff, your adoption at best is on hold, but at worst, you need to face the fact that your adoption is over, and this little girl will never be your daughter. I started questioning myself. Did I make the right decision here? What have I done to this baby? What have I done to this girl? And I went to bed depressed that night. But I woke up the next morning excited. I was motivated. I had a plan. I knew what I was going to do. I was going to fly to Haiti. And every single day I was going to walk there to that government office. One office I needed to sign the final document. I was going to walk there every single day just hoping someone would show up. And I did that every single day for 2 weeks with no one showing up, until finally someone did show up. And you can imagine, I speak for a living, there's all these emotions. I exploded on this guy. And I said something about like this. I'm like, you know what? You need to sign this paper. This is the final document. This is my daughter. I need to get her out of here. Sign this document, and I need you to sign this now. I thought he'd say yes. He didn't. He looked at me and said, nope. And I'm like, oh my God, what do I do here? I was devastated this whole thing. I'm like, do I slip $10,000 under the table? Do I tell him, hey, I've got people, I can take care of you? What do I tell him? The thing is, I couldn't be that guy, all right? I couldn't do a shady deal of 10 to 15 years down the road, tell my daughter. And I stood there feeling like I had failed. Like I had failed the mother, like I had failed myself, and I had failed this little girl. Why did I feel that? When we're in school, and you get an F, what does that F mean? It means you failed. But what if there's another way to view that? What if the F doesn't actually mean that you failed? You see, I think the educational bureaucracy has taught us that when we get an F, it means failure. I think they're wrong. I think when we get an F in life, it's just a chance to wake up and say, hey, finally, I know a different way to head in life. Maybe you didn't get the promotion that you wanted. Maybe you didn't get the raise that you wanted. Maybe life hasn't turned out the way that you wanted to turn out. And you can look at it and you can say, I failed. Or you can look at it and say, finally, I know this isn't the right direction. And finally, I'm going to head into a different direction. Nassim Taleb, in his book Anti-Fragile, talks through the science of life giving us an F, and he says we have 3 responses to that. First of all, we can be fragile and we can be crushed. We can be robust and we can be strong and we can stand up to it and build this wall, or we can be the opposite. We can be anti-fragile. And that looks like us accepting the emotions, feeling all that's happening to us in that moment, using that power to stand up and say, no, I haven't failed. Finally, I know a new direction. Finally, I know where I'm going to head. So I, standing there, turning this thing around, I looked at this Haitian official and I said something about like this. I said, this document represents a little baby by the name of Janin. Janin doesn't have a home. She doesn't have anyone to love her, anyone to care for her, and you can give her all of that if you will just sign this document. And within 10 minutes, the document was signed, it was notarized, it was stamped, and I was out the door. You see, when I moved from language about me and what I wanted to get in life, and I focused on him and what he wanted, he got what he wanted, and I got what I wanted as well. You see, with every act of persuasion, every act of moving people here from one place to the next, you have a choice. You can manipulate people, or you can persuade people. You see, they're both tools to help move people forward, but they're vastly different in how they work. When I say the word manipulation, think think to yourself, what word comes to mind when I say the word manipulation? If you have your phone, and if you want to, I'm going to give you a chance to tell me exactly what that one word is. If you don't want to do this, don't. I hate when speakers make me do things. You don't have to. You don't want to. You don't have to. If you open up your camera app and you point it straight at that QR code, it's going to take you to a page. And while you're on that page, you're going to be able to put in one word that defines what you think the word manipulation is. Manipulation is about moving other people, but doing it for your own benefit. Here's what you said. What comes to mind when you hear the word manipulation? Being used, making people do what you want, bully, deception, evil. All right, I don't know who said this, but you win. My ex-husband. I won't ask you. I won't ask you to tell me who that was. You win, though. Here's the thing. Persuasion is just the opposite of all that. It's to cause someone to do something, but through reasoning or sound argument. The word argument here is not what we do at Thanksgiving and Christmas, talking about politics and religion. It's the conversations back and forth, talking to one another. And especially with sustained effort. That's what I'm going to give you today. I'm going to give you the 3 C's here, the effort that it takes to get there. And through that, you move them to completion by advising them. And I think successful persuasion takes a mindset shift, that you're not manipulating, that you're doing the right thing for the other person. I think it's positive. I think it's freeing. In fact, I would go as far to say that persuasion is actually leadership. Persuasion is seeing a better outcome, a better future for the other person and helping that person to get there. And I believe that behind every successful leader, there are 2 beliefs. Is first of all, she believes that the future can be better. Do you guys believe the future can be better? Yeah. Yes. You know what else she believes? She believes that she has the power to make that happen. You guys have the power to make that happen? Yeah. Exactly. So persuasion is a good thing. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to hit the 3 C's for you. This is a roadmap. This is companion work. They mentioned my book. My book came out in February. Companion work to that. So what I'm going to walk you through the 3 C's, and then I'm going to apply it. I'm going to tell you about work I did around liquor and alcohol. Can we talk about that? Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. We're going to talk about this. I'm going to walk you through the 3 C's of persuasive communication. All right, the first C is the word capture. Would you say the word capture with me? Capture. It starts with capture, because if you don't capture your audience, you will never persuade them. Albert Einstein said it this way. He said, if you can't explain something simply, then you don't know enough about it. Messaging, and I think as business owners and people in business, this is the first place where we drop the ball, is not messaging well. And we're all over the place. A persuasive message is a very simple message. I do have a gift for you here today. In crafting your simple message, I have a free chapter from my book. All you have to do is text the word persuade to 66866, and that will be in your inbox, a free chapter from my book. Here's why this is important with messaging. You need to understand this, that people don't read today. People scan today, and that and at the same time, the average level of reading and speaking is on the 7th or 8th grade level. And when we write or speak above that level, we lose people. We don't persuade them. So we start with a very simple message. The second thing that we do, understand that in persuasion, less is more. The second thing that we have to do here is we have to capture them early. We know about what's happening now. People have very short attention spans. One study out of Canada says that we have less attention span than goldfish have. And since the digital revolution really started catapulting in 2010, our attention spans have gone from 12 seconds down to 8 seconds. Yes, that's what's happening in our world today. Now, we have to capture them early. We have to have fun, creative ways to do it. But millennials, I will give you kudos. You outpace us in all this. Like the way you shoot photographs, the way you caption things, you do an amazing job at all of that. You're phenomenal at that. Here's what you do need to know. When you're dealing with a client, oftentimes the first place they find out about you or your company or your business is through your website, right? Here's what you need to know about that. In 10 seconds, that person's going to decide if they like you and this is the right site and this is what they want or not. In 10 seconds, they're making that decision. And we put all this copy and stuff on it. No, 10 seconds. And most likely that 10 seconds, they're going to leave, they're going to abandon your website, then they are going to stay on that website. And here's the thing. In the next 20 seconds, more people are going to leave than they're going to stay. But let me give you hope. If you can keep people on your website by the message and how you capture their attention early, the abandonment rate is flat after that. There are no immediate drops from your website. So making sure that we capture people's attention, that we capture them early. So in a sea of sameness, show what makes you unique. Don't be the same as everyone else around you. Stand out. Find the way to do that. Make sure that you stand out. The next part of this is making sure that you make your message sticky. Ever stepped in gum before? You know that sinking feeling like, you're walking from your car to the office and you step in gum. You know that. It just sticks with you, right? It stays with you. That's what I mean with messaging that is sticky. Brands that create messages that are sticky, are loyal, they win. Let me prove it to you. Who said this? Just do it. Boom. Who? Okay, who can finish this? What happens here?
Stays here.
If anything happened in the Motor City Casino last night and you want to tell me about it, I won't take it anywhere. I'll be glad to listen to that. What about this? Who said this? Melts in your mouth? Exactly. Okay, for my older people that happen to be in here, of course, older here is defined as 40 and above. I'm not quite there yet. You might remember this one. How about this? Plop, plop, fizz, fizz. See, there were 3 of you. Absolutely. Why is this important? Repetition isn't redundant. Your audience need to hear things 6 to 7 times before they ever understand what it is that you're talking about. It's actually making your message memorable. You're feeling redundant, but I promise you it's not the case. I told you I'd walk through a little bit of application, so a little history here. Alongside with speaking, I own a public affairs and communications firm, and our specialty is building grassroots coalitions to stop laws or to advance laws. That's what we do. And in North Carolina, prior to my work, on Sundays, you couldn't buy alcohol before noon, right? We had these old school blue laws, and in fact, anyone know why? Because you're supposed to be in church. You're not supposed to be drinking at 10 a.m. on Sunday morning. You're supposed to be in church. However, we got hired by the National Restaurant Association of Washington, D.C. to move that and to change that. And as you can see, look at the messaging on the left. That's the actual bill that we were there. Anybody feel like reading that? Yeah, probably not. We had to craft this thing down to a very simple message, which was basically, do you want a mimosa on Sunday morning? Who says no to that, right? We did talk about alcohol because you don't want to be drinking alcohol on Sunday morning, but a mimosa, that's totally different. So we captured them early with our messaging. We had these funny graphics, hashtags. We bombarded them. The best part, as you can see there, we called the campaign #FreeTheMimosa, right? And people got that. Who wants a mimosa bound up? Nobody wants a mimosa bound up. Free the mimosa, and we captured their attention early. So the first part of persuasion is capture. We say again one more time, the word capture. Capture. Great, let's go on to the second one here. Oh, it skipped my animation. Oh, well, there was a really cool animation right there that was spinning around. The second part here is to connect. And this is the secret sauce. Like, this is how we impact how other people feel about you. I think this is the secret sauce because we know that people buy for emotional reasons and then they justify for logical reasons. It's not the other way around. So here are 3 ways that you can connect with your clients. First of all is to think about their win. It's always about their win and only about their win. Zig Ziglar said it this way. He said, you'll get everything in life you want if you just help enough other people get what they want. And we get hung up on the first part. I'm going to get everything I want in life. Woohoo! Yeah, what does that take? No, it's the second part that matters. It's helping other people get what it is that they want. This requires a mindset shift. We talked about that earlier. I'll tell you this, most people never make this mindset shift. They go all the way through life thinking it's about them. They're working with customers, they think it's about them. And the sooner that you understand it's not about you, and it never has been, that it is always about the other person, the sooner you'll succeed. If you're applying for a job, you think it's all about your skills. No, it's about how your skills help that company get where that company wants to go. A promotion, the same thing. Maybe you walk into a sales meeting. Oftentimes we walk into these board meetings and we talk about how old our company is, how many awards we have won, and how many offices we have, and the person's falling asleep. I don't care. Try this one time. Walk into your next sales meeting and say, tell me about your company. Tell me what's going on for you. They wouldn't have you sitting down at the table if they didn't trust that you knew what you were talking about. Start the meeting by asking them about them. This is the mindset shift that will change things for you because your win comes through theirs. It's not about you. And the second part of how you connect with others is finding that way to have a bond with them. People that persuade and persuade well, they have a bond with others. Today people want to know you. It's part of our culture, especially with social media today. In fact, many of you probably know what your favorite actor or actress, what underwear they have on, because you saw it on Instagram this morning, right? Now, I'm not at all telling you to post a picture on Instagram of you in your underwear tomorrow morning. But at the same time, realize people want to know you. Like, they're not going to be your therapist, but they do want to know you and what's going on. I call it edited vulnerability. Right? You don't tell all of them, but you give them edited vulnerability. People want to know you. And oftentimes, it's a demand today. It's a requirement. If they feel like you're slick and you're salesy, they're going to walk right away from you. So the second part of that is the third part here is trust. When I finished my manuscript and handed it to my publisher and my editor, they said, Jeff, you've hinted at trust a lot, but you haven't hit trust head on. How important is trust? And my response was, trust is everything. Like, if the audience doesn't trust you, the other person doesn't trust you, you can take my book and you can run every single page to the shredder. It doesn't matter. This is all about trust. Without the other person's trust, you have nothing. Here's the thing you need to know too. With trust, most likely they're not going to tell you, I don't trust you anymore. They're going to start taking steps backwards, and they're going to pull away, and they're going to pull away from you. Trust. Trust is everything. It won't allow you necessarily by itself to persuade. You have to have everything else as well, but you can't persuade without trust. So let me tell you a little bit more, going back to this brunch bill and how we did this, applying everything we've talked about here with Connect. Starting here with this first one, WRAL. WRAL was the largest TV market that we had in North Carolina, reaching the most people. So here's what I did. I went to WRAL and I said, look, the story's going to break. I've got a presser coming up. I'll give you a 2-day advance notice. Sit down on camera with the executive director president if you will help me keep this story alive the entire time. So I started with WRAL's win. WRAL said, yeah, absolutely. We're all into that. The next thing, the general population. Within the 6 weeks of this pop-up campaign, 8,000 people signed this petition. The goal was 1,000. 8,000 people signed this. We made sure the general population knew, if you want a mimosa, sign this petition. Here's how you get what you want. Business leaders and influencers. We had over 1,500 influencers that helped us carry this message out there. The legislators were all over. This is an election year. You wouldn't think they'd be over. This became so popular. Legislators, they wanted to be at the presser. They wanted their photos. We had ugly coalitions as well. We had conservatives and we had liberals all together on this one issue. We also had distilleries. A side note of this as well was some stuff for distilleries. We brought them in. I was finding wins for everybody. I was like, Oprah, here's a house for you. Here's a car for you. Here's a vacation home for you. Everybody gets what they want. And that's how we made that connection. So the first one was capture. The second one was connect. Let's bring this thing home with the third one. The third one is the fun one. Convince. This is how you get the person to say yes. We're to that stage now. We're ready to take them to the place where they say yes. How do we do that? 3 tips to help you get there. First of all is make sure that you position your ask for a yes. How do you position it? In my book, I talk through 3. The 3 are this: emotion versus logic. I've hit a little bit of that already. Check it out. We know that emotion sells. The second is binary versus non-binary. I won't go into that today. Here's what you need to know about that. Think about a real estate agent. Any realtors in the space today? Yes, you guys are amazing at non-binary options. Like, you can have what the seller wants, what the buyer wants, so you can change the color of the shutters, you get a little extra money here, you can redo the driveway, and everybody's happy. Right? You know how to slide all those pieces of the puzzles together. So think about that. Think of ways to do that. The third one is what I want to hit this morning with you, and that's loss aversion versus prospect theory. Loss aversion, which basically says this: you are more likely to move someone emotionally by what they might lose than what they might gain. Think of it this way. If you wake up tomorrow morning and $1,000 is missing from your checking account, anybody going to be emotionally moved about $1,000? Yeah, exactly. $1,000. You are more likely to be moved by that than the prospect of maybe you'll get $1,000 from me in that afternoon when I see you. In fact, science tells us you would have to get $7,000 given to you to equate losing $1,000. Now, some of you are like, oh my God, Jeff, that sounds so negative. I hate negative. I'm more of a positive. So am I. But we can understand how this works. Look at Facebook. If you manage a Facebook page, ever seen that little pop-up that says, maintain your prompt response rate by responding within the next 20 minutes, right? That's a positive way to say you're about to lose it, right? It's about to be gone. You can find ways to do that. So how you position. The next one is the actual call to action. that you give there. And by book, I give you 13 strong call to action that you can use, words and phrases that will move people. But let me offer this to you. As you're asking people, you're to that point that you need them to say yes. Here's what they're thinking. They're thinking what they should do, and sometimes their ask isn't clear of the other person. They're thinking what they should do. They're thinking when they should do it. And we have to tell them when to make this decision. They're thinking why they should do it. And now you know it's not about you, it's about them. They're thinking why they should do that. And they're also thinking what the risks are when they do that. Those are the things that they're thinking through there. And then the final one that I want to give you here is establishing yourself as the industry expert. Now you may say, Jeff, I'm not the CEO of the company. I don't own a company. It doesn't matter. You can be the expert within your own company. You can develop yourself as the expert, and it's a great way for people to jump over and trust you, and you're able to persuade them because they see you as the go-to person in that industry. It's the fast track. So how do you do that? Let me give you 4 ways here. First of all, you need to understand your skills. What are your top 3 skills? What are you really good at? Understand that, but you also have to understand your onlyness. Like what's unique to you, what's special to you. And you might think, Jeff, there's nothing unique to me. Let me sit with 20 minutes and I promise you we'll find what's special, unique about you. And you have to communicate online. Now, this one, oftentimes my audiences are older, so they're on the other side of this conversation. You'll enjoy this conversation because you're on the younger side of this conversation. But most of these conversations are taking place online today, and sometimes people don't know how to navigate that space because the language is not the same online as it is in any other way. You may have seen something like this. I got an A in Chem. WTF, well done. Mom, what do you think WTF means? Well, that's fantastic. What does IDKLY and TTYL mean? I don't know, love you, talk to you later. Okay, well then I'll ask your sister. Right? It's a whole different language. Your great aunt just passed away, LOL. Mom, why is that funny? It's not funny. What do you mean? Mom, LOL means laugh out loud. She's like, oh my goodness, I sent it to everyone. I thought it meant lots of love. Now I have to go back and call everyone, right? Right. Online dialogue, the language is going to be different by setting yourself apart. You can stand out. You can stand out there. Discover what sets you apart. Establish yourself there as the industry expert and then change the world. So with the Free the Mimosa campaign moving on through, creating this massive wave of momentum in North Carolina, we captured, we connected, now we had to convince. And here's the thing, my audience was no longer the public, was no longer the influencers. My audience was the North Carolina legislators. And here's the thing, I had to have a villain, right? In any superhero, you have to have a villain. Don't make the people that are going to vote and change things for you, don't make them the villain. So we made these old blue laws the villain. They're like, oh my God, these blue laws are taking away your personal liberty, your personal freedom to buy a mimosa when you want to. And as a result, we got this thing passed in record time. It had an opt-in component, so cities across our state were rushing to see who could be first, who could change it, and we passed it. We made that happen. Cities are rushing to make that happen. So the 3 C's, capture, connect, and convince. So with my adoption completed, I stood in the Miami Airport holding this little 1-year-old. I'm kind of proud, to be honest. I'm just putting my arm, pat myself on the back. I was so excited about what I had done there. But that immediately moved away and went out the window as I started looking at her, thinking about what her life is going to be. I mean, would she be a doctor and heal the sick? Would she be a humanitarian and relieve suffering? Maybe she'll be a teacher and impact hundreds of students that could then impact thousands of lives. And while I couldn't answer the question, what I knew was that my adoption, this wasn't over. Have you ever walked up to a lake or pebble? Even at my age, it's the first thing I want to do. I walk up to a lake, I want to pick up a little pebble or stone like this, and I want to toss it in the water. And here's what I knew at that moment, that my adoption wasn't over. This was just the beginning. This was the ripple effect, and that her life will touch so many other people. I was thinking about, I don't know all your careers here, but I was thinking just a little bit here about being in the Motor City and the car industry. And I was just thinking like slightly this little teeny sliver, this microcosm of my life. And I have a 19-year-old daughter. I know what's happening in your head right now. How can you be 29 and have a 19-year-old daughter? I understand. It's challenging there, but the math works, I promise you. 19-year-old daughter, her car takes her to college every single day. Her car takes her to work every single day. She happens to be able to work in her space. She wants to work in early childhood development and work with kids that are 3 and 4 years old. This car gives her a way to get there. This is affecting her future, her lifetime. And then think about it too, not just them, but think about the parents that have a trusted place where their kids can go. And the parents can then go do what it is they're called to do in life, the things that they're passionate about in life. And I know sometimes we put our heads down. And this is just all about returning emails and going to meetings and doing mixers and doing all these things that we have to do, shaking hands. But I want to encourage you today that what you're doing is just like this. And it will far exceed anything that you can even imagine today when we focus on the greater good. I want to send you out from this section with the 3 things that all superheroes have that you don't have. And I'm getting ready to give you those 3 things right now. The first one here, superheroes have specialized knowledge. I have another gift for you. If you want to use this QR code, you're welcome. I just launched a new online course called Persuasion Hacks. And while I've talked about the what here today, this course walks through the how. It's 13 modules. It tells you how to implement every single thing we've talked about. It sells for $500, but if you use the code DEC, thank you to the DEC, you can use that for a code. It's free. Go in, access it. You can have fun. You can do it in your underwear. It's a lot of fun to learn that way. Take advantage of that. The second thing that you're going to need is knowledge, and then the second thing that you're going to need is you're going to need a superhero name. I mean, every superhero has a name, right? So while you're sitting at your table, I'm going to show you a quick video. I want you to think through yourself. I'm going to tell you my name in just a minute, but I want you to think through for yourself. Pick any superhero name that defines you and who you want to be, and what is that name? And the last thing you need, the final thing you need to be a superhero, you have to have a superhero costume, don't you? You can't be a superhero without having a superhero costume. Now, I know 99.99999% of you did not live through the 70s. And that's a shame. It really is. There's some wonderful things that happened in the 70s. So I'm getting ready to show you something here that you need in your life. And you're going to feel sad that you missed this in the 70s. But here's your costume. Look, I've already been to Target. I'm not going to show you the bottom. That shows 11. Come back for that one. You don't want that one either. Look here. Jay, Jovial Jeff. Yeah, that's my superhero. I hope today that you're inspired. I hope you're willing to go pick up your cape. No one is going to hand you your cape. You're going to have to take personal responsibility, go pick it up, be the superhero, earn the results that you were destined and the results that you deserve. Now, if any of you are willing to do that, and you'll say, Jeff, I'm going to speak bold today, I'm going to speak bold commitments, I'm willing to face the nausea tomorrow morning, I don't care. I have Superman t-shirts for you that I'm going to throw out. All you got to do is let me know that you're going to be the one that's going to do this. You're going to pick up your cape and that you're going to grab your cape. Do I have anyone that wants to pick up your cape today? Over here. Yeah. Woo. Over here. Here we go. Thank you guys. You're amazing. Appreciate you.